We have already dealt with HIV and AIDS in the introductory session, but in this session, we want to focus on the impact as well as how it can and cannot be transmitted. The goal is to assist you to take steps to stop the spread of HIV. Just for revision, what is HIV/AIDS? HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. This disease breaks down the body's immune system, leaving it vulnerable to even the smallest infections. Many people who have HIV will eventually develop AIDS once their immune system has been seriously damaged. AIDS stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. HIV/AIDS has no cure. The HIV/AIDS epidemic is still affecting millions of people around the world. It is affecting people everywhere, people of every race, every economic level, and every day. According to UNAIDS, there were approximately 39.5 million people across the globe with HIV/AIDS in 2019. Of these, 2,003 million were children below 15 years old. Africa accounts for 65% of the world's HIV population. That is 25.8 million, of which 7.5 million are in South Africa. An estimated 1.7 million individuals worldwide acquired HIV in 2019, marking a 23% decline in new HIV infections since 2010. Africa is leading the percentage of new infections. HIV/AIDS has a devastating effect, both in terms of human suffering as well as financially. The impact of HIV and AIDS on children is huge. The emotional impact on these children is great, as they often face discrimination and are labeled as AIDS orphans. Some people are separated from their brothers and sisters and taken to other homes. Others stay with grandparents who are too old to teach them life skills. Currently, about a third of South Africa's households are infected and or affected by HIV/AIDS, and this already high percentage is expected to increase. Affected implies that the household has to care for at least one member infected with HIV/AIDS or an AIDS orphan. HIV/AIDS will impose significant economic costs over time. In advanced epidemics, many companies are losing around 3% of their employees to AIDS each year. For individual companies, the most obvious costs arise from the increasing costs of employee benefits, such as insurance and medical care. The major impact on economic growth caused by AIDS will be the reduction in the availability of skilled, experienced people. Growth may also be reduced if investment in infrastructure, education, and productive capacity fall due to a large-scale diversion of resources to HIV/AIDS care. Governments and donor organizations are spending billions on fighting the epidemic. Some basic facts about HIV. Once again, HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. Regularly testing for HIV will help you to know your status and start treatment if you need it. With early diagnosis and treatment, most HIV positive people will never get AIDS and are likely to have better health in the long term. Facts about AIDS. AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. It's also called advanced HIV infection or late stage HIV. AIDS is a set of symptoms and illnesses They develop when an advanced HIV infection has destroyed the immune system. Fewer people develop AIDS now, as more people are on treatment for HIV and staying well. Sexually transmitted diseases are infectious diseases that are spread from one person to another by sexual or other intimate contacts. Studies have shown that the presence of sexually transmitted diseases or infections, known as STDs or STIs, increase the risk of HIV transmission because they cause ulcers and lesions that open the skin. Intact skin will act as a barrier to most infections. Untreated STIs can lead to serious health problems. You should make STI testing and treatment part of your regular HIV care. Let us look at how HIV infection is transmitted. The HIV virus in human blood and other fluids in the body. If a person has HIV, it can be passed from their body into the body of another person. For HIV to be transmitted from one person to another, there must be an exit point for the virus to pass out of the infected person and an entry point into the body of the unaffected person. On this slide, there are various ways in which HIV is transmitted. Please note, there is such a small amount of HIV in the saliva of a person living with HIV that the infection cannot be passed on from kissing. The ways that transmissions happen can be grouped into three ways: sexual contact, blood to blood contact, and through mother to child transmission. Sexual contact. HIV is transmitted through semen, vaginal fluid, blood, and anal mucus. During sex without a condom, the bodily fluids from one person can pass into the body of their sexual partner. This can happen through the mucous membranes of the penis, vagina, and rectum, or sores in the mouth and throat. You can only get HIV from someone who is living with HIV and has a detectable viral load. The viral load gives you an idea of how much of the HIV virus is in your body. The test measures the number of HIV copies in your blood. Medication can reduce the level of HIV in the body, which is the viral load, to such low levels that blood tests cannot detect it. This is known as undetectable. Having an undetectable viral load means you cannot pass on HIV. Blood to blood contact, cuts and scrapes, open sores and wounds. If blood with HIV in it gets in through these openings, the person will be infected. You can get in contact with someone else's blood in various ways: at an accident, or when someone has an open wound. Blood brothers or blood sisters, a way some people use to show that they are friends forever. They cut themselves and rub the cut together. Contaminated blood transfusions and organ or tissue transplants, receiving blood transfusions, products, or organ tissue transplants that are contaminated with HIV. This risk is extremely small because most countries test blood products for HIV first. Sharing needles, syringes, or other equipment used to prepare and inject drugs with someone who has HIV. Using needles that may have HIV infected blood on them, for example, ear piercing needles or tattoo needles. Healthcare workers can also be at risk of HIV from cuts made by a needle or sharp objects. This is called needle stick injury with infected blood on it. Mother to baby. HIV may be passed on to a baby from an HIV-positive mother. Not all HIV-positive mothers give birth to babies that are HIV-positive. The risk of passing on HIV to the babies increases if the mother is sick with an AIDS illness or if the mother gets infected with HIV during pregnancy. HIV can be passed to the baby during the pregnancy, at the time of delivery, and through breast milk. Reflection time again. Some questions to guide you. Do you now know what HIV/AIDS is? What is the effect of HIV/AIDS on children, families, the economy, the state, and your four organizations? Can you name ways in which the HIV virus is transmitted? What can you do to inform others and warn them about the dangers of HIV/AIDS?